First off, a note, my horse got her spring shots and Coggins test. And for a 24-year-old mare, she's doing pretty well. Vet liked how good she looked, so happy with that. I went to the store, bought about a pound and a half of ginger root, a big bottle of mildly interesting vodka, and made gingerello. So we'll see. And at the end of the month, when I switch them, the limoncello that I made and the gingercello, 2 bottles with the water and the sugar. And then we had the Acolyte, the first 2 episodes. What is interesting to note is that people are saying it wasn't well written. You can tell who did what, because the stuff that looked like Leslie Headland did was terrible, and the stuff that was farmed out to people that know what they're doing looked pretty good. The story was bad. It was boring. It's not good Star Wars. Again, like I said before, it's activism, and it's a fuck you to George, and us as fans. So then we get film threat. Hey Musk, how you doing? And Chris Gore going ape shit on X yesterday, talking about the episode 3. Apparently, and I talked about this in my upload, they misrepresent the Force. And May and her sister are immaculately conceived by a lesbian witch and carried by another lesbian witch. So, hence the picture of Anakin Skywalker in Clone Wars garb, armor. I just, there's a reason why George said what he said. I know he watched that episode. I know he was like, but when you're dealing with someone who doesn't respect you, and Headland doesn't respect him, I mean, look, do I have to play her? No, just laugh, because this is, when episode 3 comes out, people who are on the fence about it are going to be outraged, okay? And what she's doing, I mean, what she's doing is basically trying to rewrite the prequels, okay? That's what it looks like to me. I mean, I'm like, you do realize that everything was building up throughout the lore that was created before to Anakin's birth, okay? What is the greatest trick the devil ever played? Convincing people he's not real, right? So, when, Bane, like, disappears and takes his Padawan, his apprentice, with him, and creates a rule of 2, the Sith disappeared, right? And it's like, that's what's going on here. Okay, each generation gets closer and closer to what Plagueis is trying to do. They're not necessarily in their different incarnations, because it's really not established who the Sith were until we get to Plagueis and Tenebrous. Okay, we don't know who the players were in between. At least I don't think we do. Bane was smart, bringing everybody underground. Bane did it the right way. And they were hiding in plain sight, obviously. All right. Hey, Mike, how you doing? Oh, hi, Kim, too. I didn't say hi to you. They really didn't try to like completely disappear. They were, I mean, look, Plagueis was a banker. He was a very well-known, wealthy businessman, business thing. Palpatine was a uh, a a senator, a politician. Okay, they were hiding in plain sight. That's what that just means. Okay, that's what that just means. And when you've got, what is it, 200 years, 100 years before Anakin Skywalker, yeah, the wealth and the influence, because that's really the only way that, all right, if you're newbies here, no trolling, no acting like an asshole in chat. You will be banned and you will not be allowed back. Okay, that's a rule. You don't fight with me. You don't fight with your fellow chatter people. Okay, you are here to discuss right now the bullshit that is the acolyte. All right, so we're back and we are looking at the timeline between Darth Bane and Sidious, okay, and Tenebrous and Plagueis. And the Acolytes, like 100 years before. So Headland, and look, Conran on Corian's channel the other day basically called out The Last Jedi for being mean-spirited. It wasn't, I mean, there's no, damn it, I made a mistake, like Abrams said, and when the Rise of Palpatine came out, and he was very embarrassed by it, I'd say. Ryan Johnson was calling people man babies for not liking what he did. And he made a nonsensical, very bad movie. Do I think it's worse than The Force Awakens? The Force Awakens had some coherence, but it wasn't consistent. Okay, let's go to the Acolyte. When Anakin's born, he's born when Anakin's born, he's born immaculately. Okay, he's born immaculately, and it's really interesting that Adlin would decide to have her two cunty twins, who are wow, the trolls today. The two cunty twins that are immaculately conceived. You know, and it's really just like, why would you do that? And I know why, to undermine what George did. Okay, we know why Anakin appeared. We know why the Force pushed back. Plagueis, with Palpatine's help, was working with Sith alchemy to try to force the midichlorians to create life. They wanted the difference between the Jedi and the Sith. The Sith want to control the Force. The Jedi look at the Force as their ally. Okay, now we've got these witches who basically are saying the Force. They call it the Force, but it really is a threat. And the harder you push it, and the more power you get. Why are you doing that when it's, hey Smith, because it's what the Sith did, okay? I mean, if you can't speak Delingity, then fuck off, okay? There. So you're looking at this going, she's trying to undermine what George did. But if you look at what she said about him, 2019 on a podcast, I will play it for you so you don't forget. Again, she, and speaking of an old bitch, she's 43, and she looks older than me, but whatever. What the hell is this? Here we go. Okay. This was obviously her plan the whole time. And Kennedy, instead of basically doing what she should have done, which is not let her get away with it and tell her you can't do that, she let her do it. And it's like, do you not know that this is undermining what George created? All right, so here, we'll play it.
We understand to be Star Wars, like the idea that like that only came from George Lucas, that only George Lucas holds the key for what we understand to be Star Wars is just untrue. And I think the prequels are an excellent example of that. I mean, the idea that like when you're hiring a director, that everyone is sitting in there waiting for George Lucas and not for the person who's going to know to hire Ralph McQuarrie, that's the problem. That's the misogyny and the problem with the auteur myth.
The auteur, what? I hate her voice. I fucking hate her voice. Annoying as fuck. She, hold it. What the hell was that? She's just so fucking vile. I can't even, and I know there are people watching this that are defending what she said. You're kind of like going, what? It's just, but this is the person who did this show. Kennedy let her do what she did. It defines nothing good about Kennedy's era at Lucasfilm. It is an attack on the prequels because bitch face here, Fred Flintstone's forehead. Yes, he was the one that hired Ralph McQuarrie. Rob, you're right. But dumbass here doesn't know that. She hired an actor that did. Oh, you haven't seen this? Wait till you see this bozo. I could not believe that they didn't cut him off. It's like, what? Wait, what? Okay, hold it. Are we going the right way or the wrong way? Okay, we were going there. No, we were going the wrong way. Here, let's play this.
In trouble for this answer at Star Wars Con. I got heat.
Yeah. This is the second time.
It's so funny because it literally, as a person who's outside and just a fan coming in, that was what was so beautiful and interesting to me. People have been talking to me online about how Darth Vader is such a bad person. It's very clear, and it's very well established from those actions. But if you can't look and see that Anakin blowing up the Death Star possibly killed millions and millions of people, I'm going to get in trouble for saying this right now.
You should just shut up.
All right, so Anakin blew up the Death Star. I want to ask the people who like this that are trolling, why the fuck do you like this show so much? These people are morons. Okay, they're fucking morons. I wouldn't let this guy be grip on the set. He'd probably break something. I mean, you got Headland basically ignorantly saying George didn't know to hire Ralph McQuarrie when he fucking did hire Ralph McQuarrie. Then you've got, Charlie Barnett. He said this twice. He didn't say it once. He said it twice. Anakin blew up the Death Star. Finally, his co-star had to grab him by the arm and tell him to shut the fuck up. because she knew. Well, I mean, he said his favorite Star Wars movie is The Wrath of Khan. So, is he a Trekkie? I don't know. I mean, I'm not going to accuse him of being a Trekkie, but what he is an idiot. He's a fucking idiot. And the fact that we're stuck with him pisses me off. Okay. And this is the thing. So we've got an idiot who didn't realize at the time that George Lucas hired Ralph McQuarrie to create concept art so he could show Alan Ladd Jr. and the guys at Fox, the execs, what he wanted to do. And that's how he got the $10 million to make the first movie, which he was over budget. I'm gonna let Cross and Jacob take care of this. She's like, she called him a misogynist. If all you want to do is see bimbos run around, women in pants being strong instead of quality characters, you're a fucking activist and you're a feminazi and you're a bitch and fuck you. Okay. If you're a guy who supports that, you're probably a predator. Okay. And I'm not kidding. All right. I mean, I don't know of a guy on the left who isn't a deviant, a sexual deviant towards women in some way. I don't. Okay. My brother-in-law, Pat, you've got guys in the fandom on the other side, like, I'm not going to say, the guy from making Star Wars, and others. And I'm literally just like, but they'll defend this because they're not fans either. I'm a history major, okay? I studied in Germany. I lived in Hawaii and Seoul, South Korea. I've been all over Europe. I mean, the only places I haven't been to are, I haven't gone to Italy yet. I haven't gone to Norway to see my cousins and where my grandfather grew up. But I've lived in Europe. I've been to London. I've been everywhere. All right. And I'd like to, just for the hell of it, get my master's degree. I do not like ignorance. When people say something that's stupid, I get pissed off. Now you can ask, why, oh Stephanie, do you get pissed off? Ignorant people are the world's most dangerous things, okay? Because they get people into trouble. They don't realize what they're doing. Ignorant people cause problems for others. They say things that aren't true because they don't know any better. Ignorant people are, fanatics. The left is mostly full of, fanatical, radical assholes who, they're not well educated. They're indoctrinated, and there's a difference. Our universities need to go back to doing what they did best, which is educating kids. But when you get somebody like this saying that, Derby, I don't, to be honest, I'm not surprised. I just, Mazurus, if he's around, if he shows up, basically told me it was poorly written and boring. Then, Latino Slant, Polly was like, it's horrible. It's fucking horrible. And then, then I find out on Cameron's Patreon that there's that rumor about a legacy character getting trashed. And, you know, you've got Chris Gore basically spoiling the fuck out of episode 3. Don't watch it. I wouldn't watch it. You know, and you know, it is not really a surprise to me. It really isn't a surprise to me at all. Okay, let's look at this because this just came over. Okay, this is just like, what the fuck? Okay, Amanda Stenberg and Leslie Hadland thought the Star Wars The Acolyte twist would leak much sooner. I don't think anybody gives a flying fuck, but hey, okay? You know, the reason why I care is because of how they treat George, how they treat the franchise, how they treat the fans, how they treat the legacy characters. All right, now they're kicking Anakin Skywalker in the ass, the main character. Basically, the character, he's like the spoke of the wheel, and everything else, you know, revolves around him. And, you know, the fact that we had to have an immaculate birth, and that's what that was. That was such a fuck you to George. Now, Helen would defend it, and I would expect her to. Me, I find it completely revolting. I find her revolting. Kev, oh my God. Well, you know, I'll tell you, when I was going to school, when I was in grade school, I went to a Catholic school, and then I went to a public school because the music department at the high school, the public high school was better, and then you know, I went right to college. We read Shakespeare. We read you know, F. Scott Fitzgerald as, you know, sophomores. You know, we studied this stuff. And now, you know, colleges have to have remedial reading, remedial beginning math. Like these kids fucking come out of there and they can't spell the word the. They don't know how to write cursively. Oh, you don't have to learn that. If we ever get nuked over Nebraska, these things won't work anymore, okay? So, there you go. I just go, I can't, I don't understand why these people wanted to do that, why these people want to make education so uninspiring. And then, I mean, look at the way they dress, the teachers dress. Blue jeans and a t-shirt. You know, I'm wearing that, but I just got done. You know, I went to see my horse. She got her shots today, her Coggins test. She got me dirty. I had to take a shower when I came home. You know, I messed with the dog. I'm gonna mess with him again. I went out to get some things, and I got the ginger and stuff to make gingerello. And, you know, I'm not gonna get dressed up, but when I was a kid, you know, my 5th grade teacher, I saw her the morning after my mother's funeral, and we're having breakfast. I see this immaculately dressed lady, and I recognized her immediately, and I'm like, because she kept staring at me and I kept staring at her. It was my 5th grade teacher. All right. She always dressed like she meant it. Like she wore skirts, she wore nice blouses, nice sweaters, nice shoes. She had her hair coiffed perfectly. Why the fuck can't teachers do that anymore? And furthermore, why can't they, instead of, you know, showing off their latest tattoo and stuff, act like ladies? All right. And why can't the guys, the male teachers, dress in suits like they used to? What in the hell is the issue? Now, you get to college, and the professors were mostly old hippies, okay? Which, weirdly enough, the hippies that were born before 45 are the ones that I always got along with. I mean, they're not crazy left-wing weirdos. They're libertarians. Okay, so I always got along with them. The ones born after, like the ones like my sisters and their obsession with Jane Fonda. All right, I mean that drives me crazy. Those are the people that went into education. And let me remind you, our best and brightest don't go into teaching. They go into business. Example, Elon Musk. Okay, don't care if you don't like him. All right, the guy's a genius. And we are suffering for that. But there you go. So you get, Leslie Headland, who's about 10 years younger than I am, who lied about being a Star Wars fan. I don't think she ever even had a Star Wars figure until whatever. To me, look, I have reasons why I don't believe a word she says. Because she was all about Harvey Weinstein, okay? All about him, all right? That article from E.T. in 2012, when they asked her straight out, or Entertainment Weekly, I should say, is Daniel Weisinger modeled after Harvey Weinstein? And she goes, oh, no, no, no. All right, for the play that she wrote. Weinstein loved it so much he financed it off Broadway. Okay. Really? Really? And yet, so we're supposed to think that when she escaped Harvey's clutches. Yeah, you do. And I know that I think if you go on to X and find Film Threat, watch that, because I think he also probably spoiled episode 4, because the guys that got press badges got a chance to go see it, and they saw 4 episodes, or they got screeners, and it's like, I don't want to see this. I wouldn't watch it if they sent it to me. The only way I'd watch it is if I could watch it with Jon Favreau, so we could both go, why would she do that? See, it's all about the bad choices. And again, this comes from Kennedy, the queen of bad choices. Okay. And it's one of those things where you're like, oh, how are you gonna, a lightsaber whip? Look, I know it was part of the EU, but for crying out loud, there's a point where you're looking at people like Headland and go, you're trying too hard and you need to stop now. Anyway, I wanted to talk a little bit more about this. Oh, and I forgot to tell you guys, we may be talking longer here. Deadline Hollywood last night reported, much to everybody's shock, Robert Iger was given an honorary knighthood. Let me find the thing, an honorary knighthood. It's like, what? Okay, so here you go. So now we know how the Acolyte got made. All right. Bob Iger knighted. No, I'm serious. And it is Bizarro World. Cameron's right. Disney CEO Bob Iger presented with an honorary knighthood in ceremony presided over by Prince William. Disney CEO Bob Iger was presented with an honorary knighthood, and Prince William presented Iger with the post-nominal title Knight Commander of the Most Excellent Order of the British Empire. All right, this is what you guys have to take from this, and that is Windsor Castle, by the way. Here's the deal. No, I'm not kidding you. You guys, the newbies won't have known this, but the regulars who've been here a long time know this. There were questions about where the money came from to create this atrocity called the Acolyte. And people started asking questions after Karen McCarthy sued Lucasfilm for egregious firing. Okay, and that case has not moved forward. It is still spinning. She was fired 2 weeks after she was hired. And why? Well, think about it. She's outside the circle of trust. All right. If she saw something weird going on, she probably would have alerted the people around her and gotten, Disney execs involved. Because Kennedy, I think, was trying to force the issue. Okay, and she, a goal achieved, right? And then Sparrow, Cameron's link to Lucasfilm, basically intimated that there were British governmental agencies that really wanted this thing to come out. And then you start thinking, okay, there's where the money came from. Because the records where, you had Headland checking out wardrobe, and it's like no one knew what she was doing. She was borrowing like the Andor set. She was borrowing other sets to finish the show. And again, people who watched it, who are horrified, said you could tell what she filmed, because it's amateur. It's not auteur. It's amateur, and you can see what Favreau tried to fix. It's one of those things where you're like, I know why. Okay, now there was a trans actor named Abigail something that was supposed to be in the show. I don't know if this person is, let's see, let's go to imdb.com and go to Acolyte. We'll see if this person actually was in it, because everybody on the planet was telling me they weren't. Okay, all right, do this. The Trasholyte. All right, let's see, cast. All cast and crew, okay. So, cast 26, all right. Bimbo. What the hell? Stop doing that to me. Bimbo. All right, idiot. All right, Manage Jacinto, Carrie Ann Moss. So that person wasn't in it, and it was all over the place that he was. Abigail something or other. So I don't see it. I mean, I'm literally. So there you go. I mean, so she wasn't in it, but there he wasn't in it. I'm not gonna enable a trans woman here. We don't do that. That is not what we do. And if a guy wants to pretend he's a girl, it's an imposition on me. It's an imposition on you. And if they try to guilt you into it, that's called false compassion. All right, and don't fall for it. But this is just so why, if that person wasn't in it and they're not listed, then why did the British government? But Bob Iger gets, this knighthood the day this atrocity drops. This is such a fucking. This thing is so. What's the word? Fucked up. I can't. I can't even. All right. So we can look forward to the Skeleton Crew because that actually looks pretty good, especially since it's a Favreau project. So there you go. And then of course we've got Mando and Grogu coming on in the summer of 2026. So yes, okay. And I thought if they had that guy on there, and the reason why it pricked our interest to begin with was because that guy did propaganda stuff for MI. I'm going to say MI5 because MI6 doesn't deal with domestic shit. Yeah. I mean, Mike Loves Cats has got it right. It's very, yeah. So, but I don't see the name. So I don't know if the person's role was cut completely. You don't really know. They did hire an intimacy coordinator. Okay, so, what are we going to see? Are we going to see any of that? It's Disney Plus. Did Disney say you can't do that and cut it out? Was this Abigail person part of that? Okay. So I'm like, I don't know what to really think anymore about what kind of things British government wanted in this. But because, look, my theory is, and it's a theory, Kennedy 2 years ago went to Bob Chapek and said, green light the Acolyte. And he said, no. And she finally said, okay, fuck you, under her breath. Walked out. This was after they hired Karen McCarthy. She gets Dimball Headland on the phone and says, you got to get rid of McCarthy. Headland's like, why? We just hired her. Because they're not giving us the green light. I want to make this, all right, I want this to be done. We're going to do it ourselves. We're just going to do it. And I don't know how we're going to get the money, skimming off the top of Andor, skimming off the top of Kenobi. I mean, Kenobi cost $90 million to make. God knows what The Mandalorian cost, and Ahsoka. But monies were given out. We've been told that they saw money leaving from the discretionary account to Headland, to Blue Stockings, UK. And when you look at those, when you look at the paperwork that was involved, they had $50 million. And then the whole thing, it gets blown up to 180 million. That's over $130 million more than what they had. So is the fact that John had to go and fix it because CGI and that stuff costs a lot of money? Or is it because, a Kennedy show always blows its budget, she can't she's not good at that. And there's always reshoots. And of course, John had to reshoot stuff. But he was like, I'm not putting my name on it. Do not put my name on it. And that's fine. Okay, I wouldn't want my name on it either. In fact, if Bob Iger came to me and said, you need to finish this, I'd say, no, I'm not. No, we're not doing it. No. Find somebody else to do it. All right. Take Star Wars off of it, give it to somebody else. Okay. It's just really convoluted. Where'd they get the money? Did they take money from other productions? I'd say yeah. Did they use discretionary funds? I'd say there's proof. All right. Why'd they fire Karen McCarthy? Because if she had seen what they were doing, she would have blew the whistle. All right, because she wasn't in that circle of trust. The circle of trust is, Rain Roberts, Candace Campos, whose name is on a bunch of stuff for Blue Stocking. She was the one that sent the note telling Karen she was hired. Rhonda Hjort is another one. The Circle of Trust. Lin-Wen Brennan, Carrie Beck. Hi, Carrie. It's like, you look at this and you're like, they were up to no good. Okay, that's the only thing how I can explain it. And the fact that, Kennedy had so much narcissistic pride in herself that, no, MI5, it wouldn't be MI6. MI6 is MI5 is like domestic intelligence. MI6 is international. MI6 is the one that's trying to engineer World War III with Russia. They're busy. Okay. My question is, why did you need to do this so much? Why did you need to have this made? And then I think, are they merely laundering money? Okay, that could be. But, Karen McCarthy gets fired. It looks like in the end that they're not going to do this, but all of a sudden you see pictures being taken of the characters in the Azores, etc., and other pictures being taken. And again, you think this is fake. The sizzle reel. I mean, really, last Star Wars Celebration, when I think about it, that might be all she ever had. And the money ended up being spent by John and everybody to try to fix what they broke. Because Iger was like, we really need to put this out. John be like, no. Iger be like, yeah, okay. So, yeah, I mean, Karen McCarthy gets fired. Fathead shows up at Star Wars Celebration, crocodile tears, phonily talking about how Star Wars saved her. And, again, we didn't think we'd see anything. We didn't think Disney would do it. And they did it. They put it up there. Now, here's this is what I'm gonna let you guys go in a second. The dislikes are still up. It's about 80% dislikes on the first trailer. The comments are loaded with, what the fuck did I just see? This is bullshit. This is trash. You've got people telling you it is amateur, not auteur. All right. Telling me it's boring. It's atrocious. It's hideous to look at. And then you've got Chris Gore screaming about them. Hey, 007. You've got Chris Gore screaming about them under. Hey, Terrible. They're undermining Anakin Skywalker. Okay. Now I thought it was gonna be Yoda, but no, Anakin Skywalker. because that is the character that pissed off bimbo bitches like Leslie Headland the most. Okay. And she, again, you know, what she says about the prequels is fucking evil. I mean, this woman is evil. Okay. Not kidding. And, you know, this is next week. It's going to be just grab your popcorn. Just grab your popcorn. Because the people who didn't watch it, didn't watch Chris Gore, and they see it for the first time, are going to be so pissed off. Not that anybody's going to be watching it, but still, the thing has been spoiled. Okay. Anyway, I gotta go because I gotta send a message to my husband about dinner. You guys have a good evening, and I'll see you around the galaxy.